Hi there, and welcome to The Daily Gardener, an almanac of garden history, literature, and small botanical joys. I'm Jennifer Ebling, and today is March 2nd. Early March is when a garden starts to argue with winter. Not loudly, not all at once, just a little give in the light, a softening at the edges. Proof, quiet but persistent, that something is already underway. Today is for the people who kept going, often unseen, often unnamed, but essential. Here's today's garden history. It was on this day in 1875 that the Swiss gardener John Jacob Mauer was born. And if his name isn't familiar, that's not unusual. Garden history is full of people like Jacob, the ones whose hands shaped a place, even when their names didn't stay attached to it. Jacob became head gardener at Warley Place in Essex, a great English estate claimed and controlled by Ellen Ann Willmott. Ellen is remembered for a plant with a dramatic name, Eryngium giganteum, also known as Miss Willmott's ghost, because the story goes she scattered its seed in other people's gardens. But if you walk Warley Place now, what lingers isn't a single plant slipped into hedges elsewhere. It's the structure, the rockwork, the alpine ravine, and the spring bulbs that still rise every March. Snowdrops, crocuses, daffodils, without asking who owns the land. Jacob came to England from Switzerland in 1894, just 19 years old, after Ellen personally recruited him. She promised him two things, a small house and a pension when his working life was done. Promises, though, can be delicate things in estate gardens. Ellen was known to dismiss gardeners for a single weed, so staying for decades meant working under constant pressure. By day, Jacob kept Ellen's borders immaculate. By night, he worked his own small patch, onions, leeks, potatoes, because feeding his family still mattered, even when he was keeping someone else's garden alive. Jacob and his wife raised a large family there, and the detail that survives, the one people often remember, is that his daughters' names are drawn straight from the garden: Rose, Violet, Lily, Marguerite, Iris. When Ellen's guests arrived from Kew, from universities, or from high society, Jacob led the tours. He knew the garden best, but his accent made him hard for some visitors to understand, and so the groups would often drift away, leaving him standing among the plants he had raised. Think of the silence in that moment. Jacob standing in the damp morning air, surrounded by plants that knew his touch better than they knew the sun, while the experts walked on, never realizing that the very man they couldn't understand was the one who was truly speaking the garden's language. And yet, Jacob had a voice. He published notes from Warley Place in the garden magazine. So imagine that quiet disconnect, unheard in person, then read later at home. One image from Ellen's biographer, Audrey Lelievre, captures the distance between Ellen and Jacob. Ellen would stop at the hedge line of the South Lodge where Jacob lived. She never crossed it. She just called for Jacob to come to her, no matter the hour. Despite her difficult and eccentric reputation, when Ellen Willmott died alone and penniless in 1934, her family was long gone. Years earlier, upon the death of her sister Rose, she had written the heartbreaking line, "Now there is no one to send the first snowdrops to." After Ellen's death, Warley Place changed quickly. Plants were lifted, packed, carried away. The estate was sold. South Lodge was sold. And the promise that first brought Jacob to England quietly disappeared. When Jacob left South Lodge, he didn't just leave a little house. He left 40 years of muscle memory. He left the stones he had placed by hand in the ravine, stones that were still cold from the English winter when he turned his back on them for the last time and returned to Switzerland with his wife. In the summer of 1937, after years of toil and strain, Jacob died. 2 years later, in 1939, the house at Warley Place was demolished. But the bulbs didn't notice. Every March, they still come up, as if the ground itself remembers who worked there. And it was on this day, in 1776, that the Swedish biologist and physician Carl Linnaeus wrote a letter meant to be opened after his death. Not a farewell, instructions. Because what worried him was simple, that his life's work would not survive. Rats, moths, damp, time. What follows is an excerpt from Linnaeus's letter written on this day, February 26th, in 1776. A voice from the grave to her who was my dear wife. The 2 herbaria in the museum, let neither rats nor moths damage them. Let no naturalist steal a single plant. Take great care who has shown them. Valuable though they already are, they will still be worth more as time goes on. They are the greatest collection the world has ever seen. Do not sell them for less than 1,000 ducats. The library in my museum, with all my books, is worth at least 3,000 copper dollars. Do not sell it, but give it to the Uppsala Library. Carl Linné. What came after his death was not order. It was family disagreement. Money, uncertainty. His son, Carl Linnaeus the Younger, worked tirelessly to preserve the collections, and then died himself just 5 years later in 1783. After that, the collections left Sweden. The English botanist and founder of the Linnean Society, James Edward Smith, purchased the entire collection and quickly put them on a ship to England. By the time Swedish officials realized what had happened, it was already too late. Carl Linnaeus's life work became the foundation of the Linnean Society of London, a defining hinge in botanical history. There was a Swedish warship sent in pursuit. That part is true. Whether it caught up or not matters less than what it reveals. A nation reluctant to lose a lifetime of careful naming. And for all of Linnaeus's anxiety, his favorite plant was small, the twin flower, Linnea borealis, low to the ground, quiet, persistent. Linnaeus chose a plant that mirrored his own start, humble, overlooked, and clinging to the earth. He once said the twin flower was long overlooked, lowly, insignificant. A reminder that even the man who named the world felt small within it. If you've ever trusted a Latin name to hold a plant steady across borders and centuries, this is part of the reason it worked. Not brilliance alone, but vigilance and care. In today's Unearthed Words, we hear from Richard Wilbur, the American poet and translator, and one of the great observers of ordinary life. Richard was born on March 1st in 1921, which makes today feel like the morning after a line is spoken and still hanging in the air. In his poem called The Beautiful Changes, Richard wrote, "Any greenness is deeper than anyone knows." And from his poem Seed Leaves, Richard wrote, "Something at the root, more urgent than that urge, bids two true leaves emerge." Until those true leaves appear, every seedling looks the same. Richard Wilbur noticed the moment a plant stops pretending and remembers its name. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, My Garden in Spring, by E.A. Bowles, the pen name for Edward Augustus Bowles. His family and friends called him Gussie. Early March was his season. Snowdrops drew him outdoors. A devoted galanthophile, Gussie was a lover of that happy spring flowering bulb. Gussie kept a part of his garden he called the lunatic asylum, where odd plants were allowed to stay odd. But what lasts about his story most is his generosity. Visitors were sent home with plants, not sold, but shared, as if gardening were something you pass along, not possess. Gussie didn't just give away a plant. He gave away a piece of his time. When you plant a division from a friend, you aren't just planting a root. You're planting a conversation that never has to end. And finally, here's something sweet to ignite the little botanic spark in your heart. It was on this day in 1866 that Margaret Sibylla Brown was born in Nova Scotia. Margaret was a bryologist, someone who studied mosses and liverworts, plants most people step over without seeing. Margaret was largely self-taught and still became internationally respected. During World War I, when cotton was scarce, Margaret helped collect sphagnum moss for medical dressings, turning bogs into something like a pharmacy. Imagine Margaret in those damp woods, her fingers cold as she gathered moss that would eventually find its way into a muslin bag for a wounded soldier. It is the ultimate gardener's prayer, that the quiet things that grow might actually save someone. If you notice moss today, don't treat it as background. Lean in. Use a hand lens or your phone. It's a forest close to the ground, soft, persistent, alive with detail. As we close the show today, remember, a garden may carry one name, but it's shaped by many hands, by the ones who show up early, who stay late, who keep going when no one is watching. And if you need one line to carry into the rest of this day, take Richard Wilbur's, "Any greenness is deeper than anyone knows." Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener. And remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day.